Hello, welcome back to How to RPG. Today, this is Game Master Preparation, and this is world building. And I thought I showed the picture of the book on art and film yesterday, and I'm now showing you a book that I have on drawing and painting fantasy worlds. For those of you who are interested, it's it's one of those things that I always found art always sort of inspires me towards doing stuff, and this is why I wanted to sort of put that in front of you for today. And I will also refer you to the Pathfinder book as well, because I think the Pathfinder Game Mastery book or guide for first edition is actually a very good product. But ultimately, I still feel like when it comes to creating your own worlds, it's about your own imagination, and it's about the things that inspire you, whether that be film, art, music, whatever. Yeah, so that's where my head is at today. So this is why you're seeing this is the sort of the first thing. But I will say I suppose well, we'll just get into it, shall we? Let's just get this going, and then I'll kind of, as we go, I'll kind of explain. I know a lot of people kind of curious as to why I have a particular approach for doing something, and maybe that can be answered today. So grab some food, some drink, make sure you're comfortable. This is more of a look behind what I do with this course. So if you've seen this course run before, you'll notice there's a lot of differences to it because I'm actually showing you the Google Slides. I've been doing this all week, and all of my session notes behind the scenes. It's also an opportunity for you to add stuff to it if I think it's worthwhile putting in there, because ultimately it's my channel, so I kind of make the final veto on these things. I'm going to put up a poll for those of you who would like to put in your feedback. How's it going, Nacho Man? How are you doing? Nacho Man is a patron, by the way. Okay, so let's get the ball rolling, shall we? And make this happen. Yeah. Hi, welcome to How to RPG. That's right, RPG, not How to D&D, How to RPG. And when I was looking at this topic and what I needed to do with it, I kind of also realized that ultimately when it comes to building worlds, there's nothing tying you to a particular game system. It really is a narrative. There really isn't anything else to it. It is essentially a narrative. I suppose you could build specific game mechanics into a world if you wanted to, but I think essentially for me it's never been about that, which is why I sort of rotate in and out of different worlds quite quickly, particularly when I'm making my own. It's not like I have one world. I consider worlds like an old handkerchief. Once I've used it for a little while, I just throw it into the washing machine or into the rubbish and move on, or a tissue, and move on and try the new thing. Try the next thing that comes to mind, the new thing that the players want to play with, rather than clinging to something. I know that might not work for a lot of people, but that's sort of been my approach for many years. And I still have that approach. And I encourage people to, if you like something, then stick with it. If you find yourself in a situation where you're unfinished with your world building, then worlds are never built. They're never finished. Okay, this is why I don't know how many people have responded to the poll. We'll come back to it later, but I would expect to see a lot of people saying they have a world that's unfinished. But is there enough to get by? I mean, that's the biggest issue, I think. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you my slideshow. I'm going to decouple a lot of the Dungeons and Dragons branding stuff, since I won't be using the fan content policy, OGL, Creative Commons. No, it's all my own. It was always intended to be essentially all my own at some point anyway. So this is where my head is going. That's what I really want to sort of focus in on. And you come along for the journey, or you don't come along for the journey. That's fine with me. So let's get the capture screen going, and we will proceed, and I will show you all the stuff. I have to make sure, almost every single time I forget to make a copy of all this stuff. So I will make a copy of all of this stuff before I get going. Otherwise, I've kind of messed up stuff when I didn't need it to. Oh, I didn't need to. Okay, so I'll also get my phone going so I can keep an eye on chat. I do want you to put in your feedback, and like if there's things that you would like me to add, I'm certainly open to the idea. No, I don't want the sound on this thing going. What I do want is I want to actually get this working. What have you got here, Nacho? Currently world building at the moment. I have drawn my map out, but I had a bit of a brain fart when it came to naming things. So hopefully we'll get some new inspiration today. Yeah, and one of the easiest ways to get past that nacho man, when you're naming stuff, is to look at real world locations and then change them a little bit. I mean, this is definitely what I would recommend to people, is like change the stuff. So this is my Google Doc. I will show you all of this as we go anyway. So let's make a copy of each of these and rename them. Now, for those of you who still don't understand why I am rebranding everything, it's because I've always been trying to pull myself away from just being a channel about Dungeons and Dragons. I wanted to talk about Dungeons and Dragons, absolutely. But I also wanted to do other things. And I've been doing this for 6 or 7 years, the same sort of stuff. There's a point where you can only go so far. I've made more videos and done more live streams than most channels do in their lifetime. And you're becoming probably more and more aware of that as I release more and more of my old live streams that were hidden from you, whether you like them or not. So let's just do this. So I feel like this is a transition, whether it's painful or not, is a transition that I need to make. And that's that one. So let's do that. Now this is the Google document that I work from. This is my session notes that I actually work from when I do my presentations. One of the hardest things to do is to actually look into a teleprompter and talk. I don't actually have space for a teleprompter anyway. I kind of read from my Google Notes, which means that you always notice that my eye line's a little bit lower down rather than looking straight directly into the camera like this. My eye line's looking at the text on my computer screen, which it actually sits underneath the camera. Because of course you can't have the camera in line and your computer at the same time, because what happens is they get in the way. So yeah, just one of those things that winds up being a real issue you discover without sort of having really good eyes, and I don't have good eyes. My eyes are pretty poor, as most of you will probably be aware of if you've been watching any of my stuff. The glasses come on and off all the time. Okay, so let's do this one. I see your comment, Nacho. I'm just going to just do this first. I think I got this right. And then we will proceed to go through and show you everything. And I will, of course, go over all these topics, don't worry. I started stealing names from 4E and Fighting Fantasy. Yeah, why not? You can take them for anywhere. Like naming stuff it's like it. I know people start talking about, oh, you got to be careful where you get things from in terms of another culture and so forth. Well, come on, okay, seriously. It's not like when you're using this stuff in your games, you've gone out of your way to actually downgrade or humiliate or use somebody else's cultural heritage in some appalling manner. It is usually just a spark of an idea. So yes, I always encourage people to pull it from wherever you think you can pull it from. That's the creative process. That really is. Okay, now the overview. Now the artwork. Sorry, the artwork. This is Wizards of the Coast. So I want to get rid of all of the Wizards of the Coast stuff. Anything that's OGL. Anything that's yeah. I don't really. I really want it to be its own thing, which means I'll have to create artwork for this. So I am getting there though. Okay, so this is gone. This here I know is definitely Wizards of the Coast, so I'll take that out now before we get too far. And where am I? Pardon me. Bit of gas. So we're almost done with. Oh, by the way, whoops. we're almost done with this rebuild because I kind of have to. I kind of have to get it done reasonably quickly. But anyway, almost there. I think there's a few of you are probably wondering what's going to happen with some of the other programs that aren't the Game Master Preparation or Dungeon Master Preparation. They'll get a revitalization as well. Okay, so overview and purpose. Sources of world building, not a problem. Mapping the world, naming the world and continents. Okay, world creation stories. I think we're going to put story. I'm going to put stories. I think that's fine. Choosing gods and goddesses. I mean, that's basically deities, but we could use gods and goddesses rather than that. We'll leave that. Don't need to change that. Developing world locations and governments, determining world magic and technology, creating races and creating race and monster populations. I think that's probably, I just need to take that out. Okay, race and monster populations, miscellaneous recommendations. So that really covers everything that we'll be going over. So our overview here. Explain how to build and create a world for a role-playing game or D&D. No, we're just going to take that out and just put a role-playing game campaign. We don't need to have the word D&D in there because it doesn't necessarily... I know that's what most people... I mean, I'm still playing Dungeons & Dragons, people, so don't think that... I guess, if anything, I'm just going to refer to D&D as more fantasy role-playing because that's really what it is. Demonstrate how to build a world for role-playing games. Playing for a role-playing game campaign. Okay. Explain how to build and create a world for a role-playing game campaign. That's that one. Okay. Nita Valley was some... Oh, it has some cool, awesome name place. Yeah, no, it does. I know what you're talking about. I used that when I was running 4E, actually. Demonstrate how to build a world for role-playing games. For a role-playing game. Okay, allow a practice example of world building. That's got that. Now, the artwork, unfortunately, is definitely Wizards of the Coast. I know I got it from Theros, I believe. So I'm going to take that out. I'll replace it with something else at a later date. Do we want a long one or a square one? Go with a long one for now. So copy. Oh, I keep doing this. I keep flicking over to that one. I don't really want to do that. Paste. Okay, that's better. Bingo. Bingo. All right. Did I get it? Come on. Sweet as. Just move it over a little bit. Okay, that'll do. I don't need to get too fancy with this, do I? Really? Not really. It's not that important. So I guess the other thing I'm going to mention as we're going through this is I've noticed more and more there are people commenting on a lot of the old live streams I've been releasing and wondering what the heck is going on, why they're showing up in the recently released section of my live stream tab, why they're showing up in the recommended or suggested viewing, and that's because they were never officially released. So I'm getting rid of D&D Beyond. I'm going to put the sponsor in here. Okay, so I've put in the community tab my rationale for why I've done this. Okay, why I'm releasing those things. Okay, I've put it there so that it's obvious to you. And I don't know how else to put it in that I have to do that. I have to do this. I've been wanting to do it for a long time. I'm just doing it faster than I normally would have. So if you want to read the very long section in the community tab about why I'm releasing these things, since they were never officially public, then the information's there, okay? But I've noticed more and more people who just don't understand what's going on, and yeah, I find myself engaged trying to explain to people why I've done something, and it just doesn't seem to work out. Anyway, Pale Rider, how are you doing, Pale Rider? we had developed the world of Mystara before they put out the Gazettas. Then we sort of worked in the Gazettas as we went. All right, interesting. I'm not surprised, Pale Rider. I know Mr. Welsh has been working on sort of a way of filling in the continuity gaps and so forth right now, actually, as it happens. I think this piece of artwork here for sources of world building, which is personal experience, modifying history, stealing popular culture, popular culture. Now, is it popular culture or is it pop culture? Popular culture. I think it's popular culture. That covers it. Player input. Those are all things we can leave this slide pretty much intact. I'm probably going to take the artwork out because I can replace it with something else. It's not the end of the world, so we will take it and replace it with something else. We'll put a square in there for now, I guess. Okay, copy. And there. Yeah, Glenn has been in a bit of a pickle, Mr. Welsh, as he's trying to work through all of this. He's had all sorts of technical issues going on, which he has been trying to explain, which I thought was nice of him to explain. Yeah, what can I say? Now, Middle Earth. Middle Earth is definitely IP that's owned by somebody else. But under fair use, I'm actually fine with leaving the Middle Earth map there. If people feel that I should take it out and replace it, then I will. But it doesn't belong to Wizards of the Coast, so I don't feel like I'm promoting them. Mapping the world, drawing the world, simple scribbles on paper, software programs, detailed map, landscape maps, random map generators. All of this is very generic. I think we're fine. I'm going to leave all of that whole slide there. Is perfectly fine as it is. Never-ending story. Obviously somebody else's IP, but I'm going to leave it there because I always felt like it was. It kind of answered naming the world. If you've ever watched the Never-ending story, naming the world is. It's not so much naming the world; it's naming the princess. And essentially, in many respects, the princess is the world. Without that name, the princess and the world cease to exist. So it's one of the reasons why I selected this image. Naming the world. What is the name of the fantasy world? Do you need a name? Ask the players to name the fantasy world. It works for some people. Civilizations have different names for the world. And this is something you'll find, I've talked about this before, and then world name generators. So this is all good, we'll leave that. So this series of slides is quite extensive, for those of you who aren't unaware. I put a lot of time and effort into world building. World creation stories. So story or stories? World creation story or stories? Do I need to change that? World creation story. I like the idea of saying stories because one of the things about this topic, right, is I keep saying you can have more than one world creation story. So let's go stories rather than story. It's a very small change. It's almost ridiculous that I'm even adjusting it, I suppose. World creation by supreme being. So these are the basic ones. The world merged by metamorphosis, blimey. Primal beings birthed the world hatched from a cosmic egg, companion gods dive for the world. Dive into water. For the world. That's a common sort of thing that's going on there. Water always seems to play a big, huge part in this. And then God's transformed corpse of giant, or another god in many cases. So these are the basics. We'll leave the Wizard of Oz. It's not Wizard of the Coast. I don't know about you. One of my favourite books is definitely The Wizard of Oz. Okay. Next. Gods and goddesses. Now, the reason I've used the Greek gods is because they sort of stand out. I'm going to leave the image. I don't think the image is a problem. Who are the deities of the world? Ask the player's characters. Gods from history and mythology. I think that's okay. Gods from history, mythology, and legend. Mythology and legend. And legend. And legend. Okay, stealing from fantasy fiction, reversing names and adjusting details. So this is we've kind of talked about this before. So that's all fine. I don't really feel like I need to change very much with that. It's probably going to be my session notes that'll need the adjustment in any kind of extensive way. What have you got here? Pale Rider. My halfling state is called Pickett, and the head sheriff is named Fred. Really? Actually, I was talking to AJ Pickett yesterday about stuff. So we'll see how that all works out. Osric. I think everyone who played D&D has at least dabbled in a custom realm. Yeah, I think at some point, everybody wants to try and dabble in it. It's just, it always feels like it's bigger. It's a bigger animal than you can possibly imagine, right? So this is all fine. I'm going to leave it. I've made just one adjustment, which, I mean, when you look at it, mythology and legend, is there really that much of a difference? Mythology is like story, and legend, I feel like legend is often tied more to fact than mythology is not. Anyway, but who knows exactly? I mean, it'd be interesting to see what the definition is of the two concepts. World locations. Now, I'm really having a hard time remembering if this image here actually is a piece of artwork belonging to Wizards of the Coast. Frankly, I don't remember. If somebody remembers if this image of the rings and the waterfall is, then let me know. It'd be good to know. Hello, Spirit Wolf. How are you? Okay, so let's have a look at what we've written here. World locations. What locations, settlements, and cities does the world have? So let's put some capitals in here to make things sort of stand out. This is a slide after all. It doesn't have to follow strict grammar. Using real-world landmarks, yes, absolutely. Use real-world map. If there's a landmark you like in the real world, put them in your game. Starting location in the world. Where did the player characters? I think we're just going to put capital P for this. Where did the player's character come from, and use that village. Okay, or town. So yeah, if you can get the players to actually provide you with your starting location, it's kind of handy. So we'll put this in here. Is this a space? It is a space, okay. Okay, where did the player's character come from, and use that village or town? Yes. What about using your hometown or city? I know that sounds a little odd, and then you modify it to fit into your world. I've said before, you probably know more about your own hometown, village, or city than anywhere else. So it's an easy thing for you to port over to your world with a few modifications and adjustments to fit. Now, still wondering about the piece of artwork, but I think we're going to leave it for now. I think we're all good. And next, world governments. So this is Conan. I found this piece of artwork. I don't know where, but it's definitely not. It doesn't belong to Wizards of the Coast. In fact, the author is actually, or the artist, the original artist is down the bottom there. So we'll keep that piece for now. It obviously won't be going into a book of any kind or a PDF. It will just be going into the slideshow. World governments. What is the government in the world? Using everyday life government, yes. Different types of civilization. The monarchy is ruled by a sovereign, so that's one of the ones I discussed. Democracy is ruled by elected people, so we've had this before. We've gone over this. You know what that one is. Oligarchy is ruled by a few persons or families, and I was trying to think really hard about oligarchy. Like, what is a good representation and explanation of what an oligarchy is? And it's tribal. I think the answer to that question is tribal. So I'll put tribal. So really, that's what oligarchy is all about, is tribal. But which you'll understand probably if I say the word tribal. What have you got here? I'm from Wanganui, so my hometown is full of gangs. Laugh out loud. So I guess I could reskin them as orcs or something. I suppose you could. Yeah, Wanganui. You could go with that. And to be fair, people, we're not suggesting that any particular group of people in Wanganui are orcs, okay? The concept of linking orc to any known real-world race is a nonsense. That's not where its origin comes from. I know it seems to be something that permeates throughout the internet from time to time. It's a weird place to go sometimes. I almost feel like the real world experience is even stranger than the fantasy stuff that people create. Authoritarianism is opposed to freedom. So authoritarianism is your dictatorship. Okay, so I guess I'll put in brackets dictator. That's really what we're talking about. And then theocracy is ruled by priests and temples. And that's probably the easiest way to describe that as well. Speak for yourself. Okay. All right, Nacho. You have like... Oh, dear. All right, world governments. So then races. And I think the image is a problem. The image I have to pull, unfortunately. It does have lots of different sort of races there, but we're going to, which is now sort of the going thing that has been, what is it? Does Pathfinder use Ancestry? I think it's called Ancestry. They call it Ancestry. Suppose you could call it creature type, or playable creature type. I suppose you could call it race or species. Species is now the thing that has cropped up in some RPGs as well. Personally, I don't really think it really matters, but that's me. Okay, so we'll replace that image. I unfortunately know for sure the next one will be a problem, but let's have a look at what we've got here under world races. What other races in the world? Okay. Okay, so here's something that I'm toying with in my head. Because in many respects it's a tricky thing when you think a fantasy world and you say races. Because races is by definition, I'm pretty sure, let's have a look here. I'm wondering if I should change that word out. And the only reason is it may not be, it doesn't really translate very well from the real world Earth to in a fantasy place where you don't just have a whole lot of different humans from different cultures and different parts of the world. You're actually dealing with totally different biology as well. So define race. Okay, so we've got define race. Does it actually tell us? Okay, here we go. All right, so a competition between it's not a horse race we're looking about. The other one, race. Okay, so it's given me a couple of things. Swift, competition. So race. A race is a categorization of humans based on shared physical and social qualities into groups generally viewed as distinct within a given society. The term came into common use during the 1500s when it was used to refer to groups of various kinds, including those characterized by those kinship relationships. So really it is actually only to describe a category of humans, race. But let's have a look at another way. Species. Yeah, and I don't really feel like this is sort of. I'm not a politically correct sort of person. Do you know what I mean? I don't go with the current vibe of correctly politically correct. I don't really care about that sort of stuff. Ultimately, because I've lived long enough to see words change so many times, and it's changed nothing, frankly, when it comes to prejudice and discrimination. But species, in biology, a species is the basic unit of classification and taxonomic rank of an organism, as well as a unit of biodiversity. Okay, so that's one thing that we've got here. What is that? What else is there? Biology, a group of living organisms consisting of similar individuals capable of exchanging genes or interbreeding. Okay, the species is the principal natural taxonomic unit. Ranking below is genus and denoted by okay, all right. So Homo sapiens. So kind of sort. So here's where my thoughts are. What is a simple define it in a simple way? Let's go back to like layman. A group of species is a group of organisms that can reproduce with one another in nature and produce fertile offspring. Okay. That's really all it means. Interesting. Okay, so let's. I wonder if there's another way of looking at this. Breed, strain, ancestry. We'll go with this for now. It may not even be the best word to use, frankly. But I'm actually quite happy to pull it. Because race would make, we're using the concept race would make sense if you were dealing with like 13 different types of elves. Using the word race then between, within that the elf population, because they have like wood elves, high elves, sun elves, dark elves, stuff like that. Then using the race to distinguish them within their cultures, because their biology is essentially the same, then it would make sense. But this is different. So we'll put species down. And if somebody can come up with a better word for than species or race, I'm happy to look at it. Species. In the world, player characters haven't encountered all species or races, frankly, because orcs and dwarves and elves and humans can intermingle. Well, it depends, I suppose. I mean, it depends. Is that the kind of world where it's possible to do that? Is it possible to do that in your world? And that sort of sets a lot of assumptions. Pick a few species from fantasy fiction. That's all I want you to do. So let's do that. Okay. Modify real animals for fantasy species. Okay. So from races, species, or races, species and races, and races from a player's handbook. It's not even necessarily the player's handbook, because if when we've done this world building, we've pulled from all sorts of different sources, haven't we? So what I'm thinking is species and races from a role-playing game handbook. Role-playing game handbook. That's it. That's all that really needs to be there. I'm pretty happy with that. We'll move it on. World magic. Does the world have magic? I know this image here is Wizards of the Coast. Unfortunately, it'll have to go. Okay. And then we'll just drop in the square again, copy it, paste it. So there were a few things I was supposed to get done today, but I spent way too much time on that community post. Wound up getting very, very long, and I was like, okay, how much do I need to say? How much do I need to say? Oh, God. Anyway, there we go. That's there. So world magic. Does the world have magic? Magic, mysterious and amazing. Yes. High and low magic worlds. Are there magic shops? Is magic connected to technology? Raising the dead in the world. Transportation by teleportation. So does that actually happen in your world? What are the schools of magic? It's not so much schools. What are the types of magic? What are the types? I think only Dungeons and Dragons specifies schools of magic, but if you're looking at another role-playing game system, they're really looking at types of magic, whether it may be, say, it's fire, water, air, earth. Oh, hello. Source books. Yeah, source books. Yeah, source books. Now, I'm going to have trouble with this name. I'm going to do my best to say it, okay? Morsujin. Okay. If you can help me with the pronunciation, by all means, feel free to see if I can get it right. Maybe you can break it down and I'll understand. But yeah. Let's have a look. Restrictions to magic in the world. So that's all good. Yeah. So species and races from role-playing game handbooks. Did I say books? Handbooks. Source books, handbooks, source books, books. Species and races from role-playing game books. That's it. We're just going to put there. Let's just be... Okay, so I've done that bit. So you putting in the word source books actually made me rethink how I was going to put that, because I was like, not every system has a handbook. It's not necessarily called a handbook. It's just a book, really. Okay, so technology. Now I'm going to have to take this out because I know this is Wizards of the Coast stuff, and I don't want to have their stuff in there. So I'll take it out. I do actually have somebody who said I can use some artwork, but that's in thumbnails and memes rather than the slideshow. So we'll see if their artwork shows up in the slideshows or not. I'm not necessarily going to do that. Oh, okay. All right. Here we go. Let me just see if I can get this name right. Genius or breed? Genius or breed? Spirit Wolf, you reckon genius or breed? Interesting. Genius or breed? Let me just have a look at what that means in a second. All right, see if I can get this name right. Morsulian. Did I get it right? Morsulian. I think I got it right. Morsulian. Pale Rider. You could call it spheres of magic if schools is a problem. I don't know that it's a problem, but I'm just thinking, if you look at the concept of, if you say to somebody and talk about, there's schools of magic, what does that mean to them? What does that mean to you if you're a layman? But if you say there are types of magic, that probably means more to somebody than schools of magic. You're like, well, what's schools of magic? Do you mean you're going to school? There's different schools, like I go to school here in the Wirral. We can go down to Helensville School of Magic, or I can go to the Auckland School of Magic. Is that what you mean? There's schools like that school? But when you say types of magic, I think that's a little bit different. I got the name right. Yes, more Morsuljan. Okay, yes, got it. Cool. Problem is, I'm a Kiwi, and I'll probably wind up shortening it and butchering it later on too. So it's like, that's yeah. Okay, so this is good. We're gonna see how we can break this down. I want to talk about world technology, but I'm kind of curious about. I don't want to spend too long on the concept of race and species, but I'm definitely open to the concept of breed and genius. I don't know if, in terms of a layman, it makes sense, because the problem is that a lot of academics, they use wordage that nobody else outside of their own academic field use. Like, they use words that actually to everybody else doesn't make any sense whatsoever. So there's one of the things I'm aware of. We might be able to get away with breed, but breed sort of suggests dog and cat, and I don't think that's necessarily what we're trying to communicate. But I'll check them out in a second. Okay, world technology. What is the world technology? So windmill power. So there's another, I mean, that's a very simple type of energy or technology that's been around for ages. It's probably one of the very first technologies you would have. Fire might even, obviously fire would come before that, but then do I need to add in every single one? Do I need to add in the concept of fire? Steam powered engines kind of comes after that. Burning fossils as fuel. Burning fossils as fuel. That's the I mean, we're very aware of that one. Solar energy capture, electrical energy generation, which is different ways that you can do that, and then radiation from atomic energy. So we're broadening it out. I'm wondering if I need to add in fire. Sully is fine. Okay. Right, so okay, so when I was looking up technology, people, and I was creating this, I was trying to find like a gradient of technology that's known. The problem is that when you look at a gradient of technology and how it develops, it's based on our own world. And although that's one way of looking at it, there's no guarantee that that's the natural development of technology in any world or every world. Because if you look back at how the development of technology worked in ancient civilizations, even on Earth, nobody knows exactly what's going on, because, of course, a lot of that technology and that knowledge is gone. There's just no records of it. So windmill power, fire creating energy. I'll add it in. Fire creating energy. Okay, so we'll put that there. Fire creating energy, and then world technology. I'm just going to rip down here and just make sure I don't lose that, because I probably will. Racer, no, magic technology. Okay, windmills. Fire creating energy. Would be the first step, possibly. All right, let's go back here. Race is fine. Here on Earth, our race is human and maybe lizard people. Yeah. Could be lizard people as well. Oh dear. All right, there we go. This is good. And then we'll go over here, and I really like this image, but it's Wizards of the Coast sort of stuff, and I just don't want to include it. Even if some of the stuff goes to Creative Commons, I just don't want to have a part of it. So I'm going to take it out. What I'll do is I'll replace this image with mythical beasts or creatures. And I think the reason for doing that is because it's nothing that anybody can ever claim. Okay, so I'll take it out for now. So be assured I will replace it hopefully with a nice image of multiple different what am I doing here? Multiple different mythical beasts and creatures for your monster population. Or your creature population, or whatever you want to call it. Okay, so this is... That'll do. What am I fluffing around with a block? It's a blank block, Fred. What are you doing messing around with a blank block? So, monster population. Let's go over what I've written here. What monsters exist in the world? That's our question. Everyone finds out through play. That's very much the case. It's one of the easiest ways to do this. Selecting from monster books. And I've said monster books, not monster manual for 5e. So I'm leaving that. Inspiration from monster movies? Yes. You'd be surprised how many ideas you can get from that. Books of creature fiction and novels? Yes. Drawing from real world biology. Do you know... Now, you may have noticed or be aware of, I was doing a weekly segment on D&D monster lore and workshop, and I would do it live, and then I would cut it down and release it as an edited video. And this was because AJ Pickett said you need to start talking about lore, monster lore, and I said I agree. I just don't know how to go about doing this and making it stand out from what you do, AJ, and what Josiah Dungeon Dad does and Mr. Rex. And I've met all of them now. Although I've only met Mr. Rex once, and one of the crew from Dungeon Cast, and I've met Jordan as well. So I actually use real world biology when I'm dealing with my monsters for those videos, live streams. I actually take segments that I think will fit the monster. You'd be surprised how useful that can be. Hello, Agile Monk. So Agile Monk is a... These are people laughing. Agile Monk is a patron, also a moderator. Thank you for coming. Yes, I have made a number of worlds and am working my latest right now. Yeah. So you might, I mean, it's fine to hang on to a world you've created and to stay with the same one throughout your entire life. But I like the idea of creating more than one. I like the idea that we can go to different places and try new stuff out. And then once we've explored that, we can go somewhere else. Which is often why if I'm creating my own worlds, it's a different world every single time. Okay, so this is fine. We can leave you with all of this. This is good. Miscellaneous recommendations. Now this is from Narnia. It's not Wizards of the Coast artwork. I can probably leave the image, so I won't take it away. It doesn't belong to them. It belongs to probably somebody else. Yeah, okay. Make the world quickly and start. Yes, and this is one of the things that people wind up, you get stuck. If you're only ever going to start your game once your world is completed, it's never going to get done. What's the plot of the campaign? The only reason I bring up the concept of the plot of the campaign when we're world building is everybody goes to plot, even when they're world building, when you don't need to. D&D, okay. So let's get rid of this. And what I really want to say is this. Role-playing isn't a novel or movie. Or is it role-playing games aren't a novel or movie? Games aren't a novel or movie. I know that's not necessarily very popular to say. No one knows the truth because of time and bias. And this is one of the things I had to always remind myself when I was doing my own stuff, is that we don't need to be sold on one thing, because frankly there's going to be different views within that world anyway. And if you have that in your own fantasy worlds, that's actually perfectly fine. And if it's done accidentally or deliberately, again, it doesn't matter in the slightest. So we're all good with that. Okay, so this is those slides done. I don't actually have any memes that I created here, but this is the whole slideshow retooled. And I think I've pretty much got everything. Oh, here we go, species. We may go back to the word species. I'm going to look them up, species, but I think species is probably going to be the one that'll work the best. Let's have a look here over at define breed. Was it genius? Genius. The word genius is probably the hardest one. A principal taxonomic category that ranks above species and below family, and is denoted by a capitalized Latin name, Leo. Oh, good Lord. Nobody's going to understand that. So genius, a technical rank used in biology to classify of living and fossil animals, as well as, okay, so living and fossil. So that's probably not what we want to use. It's differentiating between fossiled organisms and living organisms. So probably not appropriate. What about breed? I feel like breed is a little bit like race, but yeah. It's an organism classification rank. Okay, so mate, then reproduce offspring. So breed is kind of similar in some. A stock of animals or plants, okay, so it's referring to plants as well, within a species having a distinctive appearance and typically having been developed by deliberate selection. So breed might actually work, but then there's the problem is, do people understand the concept that we're trying to put forward by using the word species? Because just because that's the definition, that's not necessarily how people use the word, isn't it? This is the thing. This is all academic stuff, right? So this is the academic aspect of things, which people don't people aren't really versed in the biology of an academic nature of words when it comes to this. So species and breed. Okay, I see where you were going with this. It's a good suggestion, Spirit Wolf. I'll bear it in mind. I'm actually probably going to make a little note of it. Breed. Okay, sweet. So before I continue on and we start working my way through this document here, which is quite long, hopefully I can get it done. I'm going to have to work very quickly because there's only just over an hour to get it done. Hello, Noroak. Noroak is also a patron. Welcome to the live stream. What I want to do is I'm going to jump back over to my face just quickly, just so I don't make a mess of things. Just very quickly. And then go to, I'm going to give you the link to my Discord, people. Okay. If you want to jump in there, I'll invite some people today. I need to send a link out to the new patrons as well. I just haven't done that, but I will. I will put this in, this link. It will expire. Something to bear in mind, it will definitely expire. It doesn't last forever. Okay. Just watching. All right, so that's fine. Let's go back to where I was, which was this one. Transfer over. Okay. All right, so working fairly quickly. It's not DM, it's going to be Game Master. Game Master. Preparation, world building. This is lesson for Game Master preparation, world building. Purpose, this is Game Master overview, prepared by Fred. Game Master's guide on. So these are all of the stuff, this is all the stuff I don't show anybody, by the way, people. On preparing for role-playing games. Role-playing games. Nothing particularly fantastic at this point, but as we go down it might be a bit more interesting. Basic world building for role-playing games, role-playing game campaigns. Game campaigns. Game campaigns. And then the topics covered. Or what am I doing? The topics covered are right. So a bit of a transfer over of information there. So I need to write down all these different things that I've just been talking about, don't I? Which there's a few. So let's see if I can pluck them out quickly. One, sources of world building. BBL. So what does BBL mean? I'm not sure what BBL means. You'll have to explain to me, Spirit Wolf, what BBL means. So I'm going to get you to see what people have. What? A hashtag. What world building resources do you use? I know everybody's got their own thing that they like to use, but what world building resources do you use? That's going to be my question. Let's place that in there. And then 2, mapping the world, naming the world and continents, naming the world. Oh, I can't do that. The transition from small to big is too hard. Oh, ouch. You'll be back later, maybe? Oh, I see. Be back later. No problems. No problems. This is not normally what world building looks like on my channel, people. If you've never been here before, it's usually chaos. It's usually chaos. It's usually very fun. And it's usually me trying to struggle to keep up with the chat as they just feed me more information and we fill everything out. Sorry, my voice is breaking again. If it hadn't been obvious, I'm still not completely over that COVID virus thing. And we've had some funny weather here in New Zealand recently too. It's been a lot of flooding. World creation stories. 5. Choose gods and goddesses, yes. Choosing gods and goddesses. 6. Oh gosh. Developing world locations, governments. It just loves to hang on. Yeah, it does, man. It's really not been very helpful, and it makes it. I have rewatched some of my live streams, and I can tell that I'm not the same person. Do you know what I mean? There's not the same sort of liveliness to it, and the fun factor. I mean, part of it's been knocked out of me by the COVID virus, but also part of it's been knocked out of me by Wizards of the Coast, and what the dramas that have been going on. And I actually had noticed that it's affecting a lot of us on YouTube right now. So it actually, yeah. So I'm hoping that once I find a release all the stuff that I need to, do all the things that sort of give me back what I need, that everything will hopefully go back to normal, or they will go back and be better than they were before. That's what I would hope. Sorry, what's this? The Mushroom World. Yes, that was a blast. Well, do you remember the snail world we built? That was a lot of fun. That was some craziness. Fred, you'll be posting this all in Patreon, right? As this is? Not quite. No, the slides won't go to Patreon. The slides are mine. Okay? Otherwise, somebody could just pluck it and take it and just use it. I don't want that to happen. But the Google Doc, I will reformat into a document for Patreon. The only reason I haven't done it is I decided to sit on it for a while, actually, while I ironed out all the kinks. I was not convinced that putting it out to the patrons straight away was like the best idea. But it will definitely be going to Patreon. If you're signing up to Patreon, you will see it. I probably will release like one a month or something like that. Because if I try to release all 8 in 1 month, I just won't be able to cope. It's too much. Even if there's a lot of cutting and pasting going on. And miscellaneous recommendations. But yeah, the intention was always it would go up onto Patreon. I just haven't done it. I think primarily because I was worried that if I released it too soon, it wouldn't be ready. Honestly. I was very lucky. My wife and I only had a head cold. Wouldn't believe we had COVID if it wasn't for the antibodies in our body and our blood. Oh, okay. Is this another good reason for folks to sign up to Patreon? Yeah, it is. Yeah. It's designed to break you down. Yeah, I bet it is. So let's take this. So yes, all of this will eventually wind up where it needs to be, which is on Patreon. But even whatever I put up on Patreon would still be a draft. I wouldn't consider it at a final version. Do you know what I mean? Sources of world building. Mapping the world. Naming the world and continents. Or was it and? Do I put up and, or I want to just put and? I'll just go and. Continents. Whoops, continents. Gosh, continents. Okay, that's okay. So as long as I don't look at my phone, I'll be alright for a little bit. So if you're typing stuff into the chat on the phone, I'm gonna get through this first before I look back at my phone. World creation stories. Choosing gods and goddesses. Oops, goddesses. Developing. Okay. Gosh, developing. There's a lot. Developing world locations. Developing world. Yeah. World locations. Different governments. What else? Determining. Yep. Determining world magic. What was the other one? Assigning. I guess assigning it is. Assigning world technology. Creating species. Right, what is the another word, another way of doing this? Come on, Fred. Can you say the same sort of thing? Creating species and then monster population, something. Monster populations. and miscellaneous recommendations. Miscellaneous recommendations. Okay. Let's see. Okay, I know what yep. Selecting monster populations and miscellaneous recommendations. So that's, oh god, it took a long time. We got there. Okay, there's a lot there. I should have known it was going to do that, that it was going to be a bit hard to get it all in. So a big section. All right, so let's have a look at what I need to put in here for standards. I'm just trying to... I just don't know that there's necessarily... Is there anything that's really specifically to this? Works to this? Just trying to... There really isn't. So I'm just going to put down Game Mastery Guide, bracket, Pathfinder, 1E, Dungeon Master guides. There's a lot of them. And almost all of them have stuff in there. I'm just going to put game or Dungeon Master guides, role-playing games. Is there anything else that I really feel like I need to mention? I'm really not too sure what to do with this, but it's the only thing. Species with their ethnicities, human species, elf species, then their ethnicities. Yeah, that's really, I guess that's what I was thinking as it happened, Monk. Yeah. So what's this? What is funny is that I am sitting here working on my breathing world and eating a sandwich, listening, my friend, about world building. Okay. So let's go here. Define ethnicity. Right. People does suggest human though, but I see where you're going with this. So within your species, it's broken up again. G auto correct is lame. Okay, all right. So this is that's that bit. I'm just going to check something that I've been working on yesterday and see if there's anything I can carry over from it. This one here. Sly Flourish, world building, The problem is, when it comes to world building, it's so broad. I could do a lot more. It just anyway, let's go here. Explain how to build and create a world for role-playing games. Game campaigns. That's it. Demonstrate how to build a world for a role-playing game. Allow a practice example of world building. Yes, we do that. And then this is the black magic. 6K camera. Webcam. The ring light's gone. I mean, I got the ring light, but I don't use it anymore. There's so many lamps around me now. And then microphone, Stream Deck. Oops, not quite. Stream Deck, and then that's right, the 4K cam link. There's no way I could have managed all of this without my brother. It's just too hard. Okay. So game or Dungeon Master Guide. Source books. What am I pulling here from? I'm pulling from this one. Copy, and we'll put that down here as well. Put that first. Paste. Comma. Of that race and species. Hello, ugly weirdo. How are you doing? Species would be would fit all humanoids, and under that would be race human. Yeah, that's really what I was thinking. Yeah, so humans would be broken up into their own different races. Elves would be broken up into their own races. So this is where my head goes. Now a data you would to avoid a world races. There are many people who go sideways over it. But yes, a race and species are actually the same. Then you have the derivatives of various ethnicities. Yeah, for the normal layman, this is how we kind of communicate. So I just don't see that it is a problem. I know people think it is, but okay. So check live. Yes, that's all good. We don't have to worry about that. This is where we get into the meat and potatoes of things. Sources of world building. I am going to take a break here because it's been over an hour, and I think that going through this should be relatively quick. It will also allow me to break things down a little bit more, which I probably should have done from the very get-go, and I haven't done, but I will do that. So what I'm going to do is hashtag what books do you use, if you use books at all, when world building. Okay, what books do you use when world building? It can be anything under the sun, people. Anything under the sun. So that's my question to you while I go take a break, then come back and chop my way furiously through the rest of this. 5 minutes or less and I'll be back. You use all types, do you? Okay. Do you want to share what types you use, Monk? Would you feel inclined to share the names of titles if you're too busy? Because I know you probably are. You don't have to, but maybe some people here would be interested. Okay, so I'm going to go through this document fairly quickly. What do you got here? There are some great writers' books around world building. Can't remember specific names, but there are many genre-related resources out there. Yes, there is. I'm just curious as to what people use themselves. Okay, so back to the business of getting this done. And I have 40 minutes to get it done, so there is no mucking around to be done here. I have to be quick. You type them in here. Okay, only if you have time. Kobold Press World Building. Ah! Geez, you probably already sold me on the idea of getting Kobold Press's world building book. Although it's probably going to cost me a fortune to get it. I've got to avoid trying to spend too much money because I already spent so much money as it is. Okay, so sources of world building. Building a world from personal experience, yes. Modifying history or fantasy, or a fantasy or science fiction world, yes. I'll just put that as a capital there for now. Stealing popular culture like Middle-earth, Oz, Narnia, yes. Player input is you play the game or backstories from player characters. Yes, that's good. So that's our sources of world building. If there's anything else I should add, you'll let me know, people. I'm writing on world building volume 1 and 2. On writing, oh good lord. I'm coming to understand that my ideas on and how I do things just aren't going to fit comfortably into the human brain. Books of historical architecture. Yes, I believe that. That's kind of where I go to. I'm going to get rid of this. The formatting here is probably a little bit whack. So mapping the world. I'm probably not going to go into different software you can use because really we do that under locations. Drawing the world for the role-playing game. And that's really all I want to say. Role-playing game. I think that's it. A few different ways. Game can be achieved a few different ways. Drop it down. Simple scribbles on a page of white paper and pencil or pen. We go back a little bit. 30 Days of World Building by Trevina. Okay, interesting. What's this? After nearly 7 weeks by Jeff Ashworth's book finally turned up today. Which Jeff Ashworth book are you talking about, Nacho Man? Fair enough. I'm just look. If you don't have a book, that's cool. To offer sources and ideas that they can just help. Yeah, no, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that at all. I'm kind of interested into which Jeff Ashworth book you're talking about. Software programs that allow maps to be drawn in detail. Okay, so this is Okay, so software programs that allow custom maps to be drawn in detail, detailed landscape maps that are real, and then random generators that make world maps. Okay. Bad English, sorry. No, it's right. I ordered the traps and puzzles one. I'm still not decided if I'm going to go grab that one. It took 7 weeks to get to New Zealand. I'm not surprised. I've been told that it could take up to 3 months. The Ravine Codex by David Eddings. Oh, hi, Shiner81, you're back. Shows how he built the world of... oh, really? Belgrade Story Epic. Okay. From Sector T Sorcery and Author's Guide. Oh, okay, alright. The only world building book you'll ever need. Oh, I see. So you've got quite a few there, Monk. You've got a bunch of them. Alright, so let's work away. So people, if you're if you're looking for different books to check out, obviously there's a few been. Timothy Hitkins does the volume 1 and 2 mentioned earlier. Okay. Name your world. What is the name of the world or continents? Does the worlds and continents need names, and when you have been exposed to so many from history and pop culture? Yeah, that's a good question. Ask the players to name the world. The same world can have many names across different civilizations. World name generators can also do the work for you. So we have, and I've put I probably was going to put in world name generators in here. It's probably a resource that I will find. Can also do the work for you. Let's just go back. Okay, so world creation stories. What is the world's creation story? Question. No one really knows, but there are theories, myths, and legends that anyone can make up, not just the game master. Game master. The world is created by a supreme being. We know this one. This is like God and, Christianity. The world emerged over a long period of time as a metamorphosis. So this would be Christianity would be a good example. The world emerged over a long period of time as a metamorphosis occurred. I don't know of an example I can give you though. Two primal mother and father super beings birthed the world. Now, a lot of the Pacific Islanders have world creation stories like this. I just can't remember exactly which one it is that I need to nail down here. The world hatched from a cosmic egg laid by a deity. Two companion gods represented by good and evil dive into a water source to pull the world into existence. This is very very similar to the mythology around my own country. So this actually relates to that, but off the top of my head during a live stream I can't remember all the details. Pretty much the only resource I used was the Jog Browsing YouTube channel for mapping, drawing. He's got some useful maps. Oh, okay. Hello, how are you? Who's this? TTRPG. Ancient Gamer. The only world building book you'll ever need. Your new setting Bible. Series of Bibles for writers. Paperback. Okay. April 5th. 2020. Alright. Interesting. I'm definitely going to have to look back through this when I am filling out. See, this is one of the problems why I was concerned about putting this out to patrons until I was absolutely sure I was finished. The gods transformed the corpse of a dead giant into the world. Okay, so these are Yeah, those are all pretty standard sort of creation stories. Gods and goddesses. Who are the gods? Who are the deities? I'll just put deities, I guess. Deities. Who are the deities of the world? Ask the player characters who they worship. You know tons of gods from history, mythology, and folklore that can be selected. Absolutely. Select from the from fantasy, science fiction, and Dungeons and Dragons lore. So pick some. Reverse names, slightly adjust details. I'm not actually going to refer to this. Now, the reason why I'm going to take this page number out, although it's definitely got a lot of information in there, is you can get all this freely available pretty much anywhere. Oh, what's this? That's my Alfie Monk Fred from my PC. I can just list together for you, for your Patreon. Okay, yeah, no. I get it. I get it. I was always going to put this onto Patreon. I got busy, as you know. So your monk, you can put it on. You can send it to me on Patreon, or you can just chuck it into the Discord, and I'll peruse it and transfer it over. My current homebrew world only has 3 gods. One is lawful, one of neutrality, and one of chaos. Interesting. Nice. Made it nice and simple and easy. Yeah, absolutely. So let me just have a quick think about what we should add here. So what I'm going to do, instead of referring you to some specific IP, what I will do is I will just list some different groupings of gods for you. I think that's probably a better idea. So is this going to work? No, that's not going to work. So I just need to write these down. Cosmic egg, details. So there, and suggested pantheons. So we've got, go back the other way, sorry. Right, am I in the right place now? Suggested pantheons. Norse, Egyptian, Egyptian, Norse, Egyptian, Greek, Celtic. What else? You call them the balance. Nice. Celtic. What else have we got here? What other cultures have a pantheon of gods that people can remember? Pantheons from history, mythology, legend, from other cultures. So Roman, yes, because the Romans just basically did a facsimile of Greek, didn't they? Roman, absolutely. Dungeons and also what's this? Fantasy pantheons. Aztec, Asian mythology. Aztec, yes, Aztec. What was him? Asian. I don't want to say Asian because when we say Asia, it's so broad, so there's a lot going on there. So yeah. So I won't put Asian. Let's pull out specifics. But Chinese, because it's not like they're all exactly the same. Does that make sense? Okay, so suggested fantasy pantheons, and we have Forgotten Realms. For those of you who are playing D&D, Hindu, yes, yeah, put that here. Hindu. So I've added that. It's a good idea. Forgotten Realms. I don't know what the Pathfinder pantheon is. I've got no idea. What's their? They've got the name of their world is called what? I can't remember. Polynesian, Japanese, Hindu. Yes. I don't know if the Korean. I don't know. I honestly have no idea if the. When you say Polynesian, that's a lot of different cultures. I don't know if they necessarily have exactly the same thing going on. So Korean. Who else is there? Japanese. Eurasian. I'm not sure what that is. Thank you. Yes. That's what I was thinking. Yes. Whoops. I'll put that first. Galarian. Forgotten Realms. Greyhawk. I believe it is. Hawk. Dragonlance. I believe it's Eberron. Mystara, I guess. Blame it on the keyboard. Yeah, I can do that. Mystara. Okay, so there's a few that I can add in here. We'll get there. Galarion. Yep, I've got it in. Always blame it on the hardware. Reversing names. Okay, so we've got that done. I want to come back to this. I certainly do, when particularly because I feel like I should. So I'm not finished with this bit. But yeah, I want to open that up a bit more. Okay, world locations. What locations, settlements, and cities does the world have? Okay, so let's go here. Settlements, cities, and cities does the world have? There's many places around the world, the real world, that you have seen that can be poached and adjusted as the group plays. Yes, you can. This book does offer some stuff. I'm going to cut this. I'm not going to dump it. As I said, I'm not going to get so silly as I got a little bit out of whack. I have to, it's supposed to be tools, right? But I need to add in some other stuff, so I will. And I'm going to put it in here. What is the starting location in the world? Right, so that's fine. I'm going to keep this. Where did the player characters come from, and use that village or town? What about your own hometown or city, and modify it? Yes. I want to add in here a little section on the Pathfinder book. Because this actually, the Pathfinder Game Mastery Guide actually has an index on tables. So I can go to the index, even if I don't know exactly which page I'm looking for, and I can look for anything on location. So right now, as I look at the back of this thing. It's a whole page index too, by the way. Plots, no, that's NPCs. Lots of different generators here. That's for weapons, magic items, more stuff like that. Places to find dungeons. Types of dungeons, dungeon rooms, graveyards and necropolis. Okay, so we're now getting into there's definitely a section on locations that they have here. 100 city locations. Oh my gosh. There's quite a bit. And then they break it down again. I don't even know if I can specify specific pages. There's so much there. So we're going to go with port over. Do I port over? No, I'll just write it in. Game mastery. I can't do with this anymore. It's got to go. Sorry. You got the bald person again. Game mastery. Guide. I can only refer people to books, even though you've given me books. I'll certainly chase them up, but I can't only refer to people to something that's really around something that I have experience with, rather than referring something to a product that I don't know anything about. But I will certainly look into in the future. Game Mastery Guide. This is Pathfinder. 1E. Did I get it wrong? No, it's fine. Yeah. So now we move along. Is full of location information. Absolutely chock-a-block that one. So the game mastery. Yes. Got it. Cool. Next, world government. I think I got that sorted out. World government. Who or what is the government and power in the world? You deal with government every day of your life. This shouldn't be hard to figure out. No, it shouldn't actually. If you don't know about different types of civilization, you must be. Why did I say that? I'm not even going to say. Well, this doesn't even have to be here. Okay. So I'm just going to put here D for different. Yeah, so I'm going to ditch that. Different types of civilizations. I think the reason I put this in here, this entry in here, is because I just did not understand why people even asked that question in the first place. So let's get rid of this. Okay. Okay, so this needs to actually come out. We're going to cut that. The monarchy is there. So monarchy is kings and queens. Kings and queens, that's really what it is. Democracy, we know what that is. Oligarchy, this is basically tribal. Okay, oligarchy is a government formed by a few persons or families. Democracy is ruled by elected representatives that citizens select by voting. We know what this one is. This here can go at the end. There's actually a section in the Pathfinder book on this as well, which I might refer you to I think what they did is they did not give you quite so many, but then again, I don't think you need to have that many. Academia is a really cool site to get medieval, ancient, and later government types and naming conventions. Okay, thank you, Agile Monk. I appreciate that. That's good. I'll have to chase that up. So this is dictatorship. It's basically what it is. So that's easy to represent that. This is a bit harder to explain. So I'm going to go here and copy. Now, can I give you the page numbers from that book? I probably can. See pages. And I'm pretty sure it's nice and easy to find in here. Let's just see if I can find it now. Rewards, creating democracy, world building, primitive society, feudal systems, rural systems, other societies. So starting from about 148, there is, okay, 148. 148. Okay, geography, cultural considerations, economics, government, law, no, that's not it. Primitive society, feudal society. Okay, so this actually goes on for a while, and it starts at a roughly, I would say about page 148. 148 to pages, that's feudal system, cosmopolitan societies, other societies, breaks it down, and then we go into technology. So this is 159. Yeah, just say no to dictators in real life. Absolutely. Thank you for dropping in the site and link, please, Monk. I appreciate that. Yeah, what Australia has been running under lately. Okay. Good night, Norok. I'll see you later. Should be finished this fairly soon. I don't have too much choice. I kind of have to. World, species, and races. I'm going to put species and races. So that's fine. Species and races. Races in the world. Player characters haven't encountered all of the species and races yet. Species and races yet. Pick a few that you know from fantasy fiction. Add the rest later. Yes. Modify real-world animals to create a fantasy species or race. Select a handful of species or races from role-playing game books. Go there and okay, so players handbook, I think it is. Handbook D&D 5e. So I know a lot of you are still playing it and probably still will, and that's all good. We're going to put it there. Although, if anything, this doesn't even make sense to me. I don't even know if I need to even put this here. Do you know why I think about this? There are so many scattered everywhere. They're like everywhere under the sun. So, yeah. Why am I doing that? Why am I doing that when I probably don't need to? I'm just going to take it out. I don't think it's necessary. To be fair, when I put it in, I was like thinking, did I really even need to do that? So I'll just take it out. Mini. Now, ninny, nons. Okay, so here we go. World magic. Does the world have magic, and how does it work? So, really, this question cracks me up. It's magic, mysterious, and amazing. Do you know the Dungeon Master Guide on 5e? It actually says almost nothing. The truth of the matter is, when I think about those 2 pages, and when I think about the Pathfinder book, it almost says nothing. Like, it doesn't tell you that much. It really, we could break it right down into just a few words and we've done everything. High and low magic worlds. Like, that's almost all that there is out there in terms of these guides. It doesn't matter whether it's Pathfinder or Dungeons and Dragons. They really don't go into a lot of detail. Are there magic shops? Is magic connected to technology? Can the dead be brought back to life? Is transportation achieved by teleportation? Are there schools? Are there types of magic? And what are they? This is what we need to do. Types of magic. And what are they? What are the restrictions to magic in the world? This actually does it all. I don't even know that we need to go. I don't even need to point you in the direction of something that isn't going to tell you new. It's like filler words, if anything. Okay, so we'll leave that. World technology. So this is world technology. What technology does the world have? Now that doesn't make sense. Does the world have? Right. Okay, so let's get rid of this. So you know about different types of technology. From your real world experiences and schooling. So that should cover it. A fire creating energy. Fire creating energy would be the first step, possibly. As I said, I don't know that it's step, possibly. Possible step, possibly. It doesn't like that. I don't know why. Fine, so be it. Windmills that mechanically move a mechanism. Steam-powered engines. Burning fossils as fuel to power a machine. Solar power, energy capture. Electrical energy generation that is stored for later use. And then storing radiation from atomic energy. So these are all things that we can sort of... That's pretty much our scale, I guess. I'm almost done, and I should be almost done because I'm supposed to be done. Sorry. Oh, night. Oh, that's right. No, I saw it and I realised after. You too. All right. I'll see you later. I know a lot of you have got to go. I have to go too, but I need to finish this as well. And there's only just a few refinements left to be done. So, monster populations. Let's do this. Okay, what are the monsters in the world? Everyone will find out as the campaign is played, including the Game Master. Selecting creatures from any monster book. Any monster books, yep. Taking inspiration from movie monsters to populate the world. Books of fiction and novels that fuel the imagination for monster creation or steal ideas, yeah. Drawing from real world biology and archaeology to create monster concepts. That's fine, we're all good there. Next, miscellaneous recommendations. Just make some sort of world quickly and get it started. Yeah, it's like, don't take too long. What is the plot of the campaign? This is not a novel or movie. The plot will unfold as the players play the game. And it's not required for world building. It really isn't. That's what I wanted to say. Okay, I've written it down. No one knows the truth about anything because of the passage of time and bias, so you don't need to know it all as a game master. And that, my friends, is really it. The rest you will make up as you go. That is it. I have a template here. I do have a couple of things I was working on here, treasure, non-player characters, and in the end, ultimately, these wound up being things I decided were not things to worry about. So if you're wondering why they're here, they're never going to wind up seeing the light of day other than me showing you now. The world building headings, the things I thought were important, that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to take out this world threat. I don't believe that needed to be there. Treasure. We'll take out treasure. I don't think that needs to be there either. Is there anything else? Non-player characters. We're not taking this into consideration because, again, that's another aspect of it that's not necessary just yet. But that, races, gods, world creation, locations, monsters, magic, technology, government. That's really about it. You can break it down into real simple components, and that's really about it. So I think that's done. Okay. So tomorrow I'm going to be breaking down creating and building adventures. But the good news about that is I know that it's pretty much sorted. It should be pretty quick to get that all sorted out and done, which is good news as far as I'm concerned. I'll be glad to see it sort of like put aside quickly. Moving on. Let me just end this poll. Hello there, everyone. I'm late. Yes, you are. I'm about to finish. We're not creating anything today. I'm outlining the world building class. Yeah, that's exactly, yeah. Morsulian is exactly right. Okay, or Sully. So we're going to end that poll. The next time we come back round to doing this, we'll be building a world. Okay, we will be building a world the next time we come back round to this, which is probably going to be in about 2 months. Okay, so I think that's not too bad. I was a little worried about how to sort of structure it. I know you could go into far more detail than that, but I think that's what was required. So yeah, that's where we will finish. So now that that's done, let's make that step, shall we? Let's make that step. So I want to say thank you to all of my patrons who have been supporting me on Patreon. It does make a huge difference. I do thank you. You ensure that these programs keep continuing as live streams and plus all of the other stuff that happens in terms of editing and so forth, which I don't do an awful lot nowadays, but thank you. Thank you to everybody who took part in the live stream today, in the comments section and as part of the poll and just watching. I do appreciate it. Thank you thank you, Agile Monk, for the super sticker, the $20 super sticker. Thank you very much. I do appreciate it. You have been really helpful with this whole process. Yeah, thanks to everybody who's been watching the edited videos, putting up with the old live streams that I've been making public, because I have been doing a lot of all the stuff I've hidden. I'm now releasing, so you can see it, no matter what it is and what I said, it's there. And putting up with those shorts. So wherever you are in the world, whether it be the morning, the afternoon, the night, or the wee early morning, please look after yourself, your family, and your friends. Be nice to your neighbours. And hey, till next time, keep rolling those 20s. Ah, dear.